Hello everyone, it's Jeff back with you for another video. You see this balloon in the background is a leftover from Mother's Day. Something my daughter gave to my wife for Mother's Day. It's a big giant bee balloon and it's slowly starting to deflate, but it's still hanging in there as you can see. So we still have that going for us. The weather here has finally turned warm. Finally was able to cut my new grass. It turned out pretty well. And I go back to work tonight on third shift. Boo. First want to thank Sean Zlock for going to that record show with me on Sunday. You're a dude. It was awesome. It couldn't have been nicer. It's always a good time to go record shopping with Sean. And if you saw our team up video on his channel, which I'll try to post a link to down below, you can see all the stuff I got from that show and what he got too. Lots of Thin Lizzy and lots of XTC, in case you haven't saw the video. Also, on that very same Sunday, that afternoon, I went to one of my best friends ever, Gary, who I've known, geez, probably almost 25 years now. Former coworker of mine, and we stayed in touch over the years after I left the job and he retired. But me and my wife went to his house and had dinner there. And I've heard all kinds of stories about all the records he's got because he knows I collect records. And I think he watches these videos off and on. If not, I'll have to tell him to watch this one. Hi, Gary. How you doing? I love you, man. But he also gave me a couple records that night. So Sunday was a very big record get day. For sure. So I'm just going to show you those very quickly. I haven't listened to any of these yet. But I got an album called Newborn by the James Gang. Never heard of this one. It came out, I think, in '75. Got a little bit of water damage and ring wear on the cover, but the record itself is mint. So I don't think Joe Walsh was in the band when this album came out, but I will certainly give it a listen with an open mind because they're the James Gang. Gotta love the James Gang, right? And I guess I'm just meant to own Chicago 8 because he had a copy of that. This one is much nicer than the one I threw away from my rant video. Both the cover and record are in much nicer shape, so I will certainly give this a listen. And I also got Kick Out the Jams by the MC5. I don't see this record around very often. This is looks like it's an 80s, like it's an early 80s repress on the red Electra label. But yeah, Kick Out the Jams. Nice. This ought to be a fun listen. And last but not least, the one album that is probably in the nicest condition of the four, along with one that I've been looking for ages and not getting, In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. This album was in the boxes of records from the guy that I bought from in my rant video, and I saw it and I was like, ooh, if there's any record I want to get, it's this one. I took it out to look at it, and there was like a giant blob of like gray paint on the record itself, and I tried picking at it a little bit and it wasn't coming off, so I had to put it back. So when I saw this in Gary's box, I was like, ooh! And I think pretty much everybody knows what this album looks like. I've seen it in many other videos. There's the gatefold. The interesting thing about this album is it's not on the Atlantic label like I thought. It's on this label right here. It's Editions EG. It says Collector's Edition. I looked it up on Discogs, and from what I could tell, it's an early 80s pressing. I think it's from Canada. I think it's a Canadian pressing, but Again, I'm not positive. But the record itself is in mint condition. So this was a big one, crossed off the list. I've been wanting to get 21st Century Schizoid Man on vinyl, and that's on this album here. So very happy to have this one. So Gary, if you're watching, thank you. You're the best. As far as records that I've listened to over the past week or so is American Woman by the Guess Who. This was from the Rant Video Guy. And this is another album. The music itself, here's the back cover. The music itself is great. I mean, side one is pretty much a greatest hits collection. You got American Woman, No Time, and then you got No Sugar Tonight, New Mother Nature. There you go. That's practically the whole side right there. The rest of the album is pretty good too. This is just the lyrics, everything printed here. And the record itself, it looks clean, but I'm going to have to try the scrubbing bubbles treatment on this one because looks can be deceiving. So if it was cleaner, it would sound good, but it's just got too much crackle and pop, too much surface noise. You know the routine by now. So I'm going to try the scrubbing bubbles on this one, give it another listen. Hopefully it improves it. And just hope for the best. So, there's that. But overall, this is a pretty great record for the Guess Who. American Woman. Now, we get to my jam. Hooker and Heat. This is an awesome, awesome album. It's a double album. And, geez, I almost like this one better than the other John Lee that I've been pushing. Don't Turn Me From Your Door. Because this one, the first record of the set is pretty much John Lee solo, accompanying himself with his own guitar. And then the other album, he's backed by Canned Heat, but he still does all the singing. So, and it's not, it's fairly minimal backing. It's just, guitar, bass, and drums. So, but you could tell that John Lee is running the show here. I'll show you the gatefold again. I know I showed this one recently. But yeah, this is a kick-ass album. I would recommend this probably even more than the other John Lee album and even the other Canned Heat album that I listened to. This is great. So, yeah, this is another one of Andrew's picks, and man, this one is really good. I'm very glad I got this. This is going to get played much more in the future. Hooker and Heat. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. And I showed this in my Finds video with Sean. I listened to the Dukes of Stratosphere. 25 O'Clock is their EP. They also put out another album, a full-length album called Psionic Sunspot, which I'm going to have to find now because this is a great album. It's got, well, probably the best way to describe it is this came out in 1986, but it sounds like it could have been released in 1966. It's members of XTC working under a different name, making music that is psychedelic, much harder rock edge than you would get in an XTC album. And man, every track is killer. I mean, it's only an EP, so there's only 6 tracks, but man, it's killer. I'm telling you. This and Hooker and Heat was my total jam on Monday when I was doing chores. And I had the house to myself, and I was able to play as loud as I wanted. This was a great album. EP, sorry, not an album. And then, as if that wasn't good enough, I played Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers. Genuine house rocking music. This is another one I showed in my Finds video, and I couldn't wait to play it. I just had to. So, again, this is a kick-ass blues album. It doesn't sound much different at all from the other two Hound Dog albums I've got. But man, if you like, and I've said this before, if you like, you know, that dirty, fuzzy, greasy sounding slide guitar playing and fast paced, you know, almost jump blues type music, this is the album for you. Actually, any Hound Dog album would be that for you. And I don't even think I could even pick a favorite, but this one is really damn good. So I don't know what else to say. If you like blues, or if you want to discover blues, but you don't want that same slow na 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 type of stuff, I don't like that either. This will get you jumping. It is genuine house rocking music, and it will get the house rocking, I guarantee. So just get it. This wasn't that hard to find. I found it at the show. These can be found online too. Original Alligator Records pressing. And it's fantastic. I love it. And finally, I listened to Underwater Moonlight by the Soft Boys. This was VCLT from Hannah, the Omaha introvert. Thank you, Hannah. This was one of those records where as soon as I finished it, I flipped it back over and I started playing it all over again. And I listened to it right then and there again. I do that with albums sometimes. This is one of them. Let me take this out of the sleeve here. Show you the back. This, like I said before, was Robin Hitchcock's band before he went solo. And I think some members of the group, the Soft Boys, became the Egyptians when he became Robin Hitchcock and the Egyptians. But, I mean, I Want to Destroy You. Great song. That's the lead-off track for this album. Positive Vibrations. That was another great one. Insanely Jealous. That's another great one. On the second side, I know it sounds weird, but the song's called Old Pervert, and I really liked it. I really liked the drumming. But it's called Old Pervert. Oh well. The Queen of Eyes is on this one. I've heard that one before. That's a Robin Hitchcock classic. And of course, the title track closes out the album. This is a great album. It's power pop. It's a little new wavy sounding. This came out in 1980, right? I believe. Yeah, 1980. So it's kind of got that early 80s, you know, new wave sound to it too. But Robin Hitchcock is in fine voice, great singing, great playing, great quirky lyrics, just like all of his other records. And yeah, I'm going to be playing this one a lot in the future, I can tell you that right now. This is a great, great album. Underwater Moonlight by the Soft Boys. It's fantastic. So as you can see, I've had a very good week of music listening, and I plan on having another good week to come, listening to more. And the first album that I got from winning Psycho's Platters contest came in. I'm still waiting on the other two. I was able to get 3 albums, so when those all come in, I will show them in a future video. And I think that's about it. Everybody take care. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. I'm closing in on 300 subscribers, and once I cross that threshold, there will most likely be another contest. I'm trying to think of a few, I've got a few ideas. I'm trying to think of what would be good to run a contest off of. So, still working on it. I still have time. But I'm in the low 290s now. So, once I go over 300, there'll be another contest in the future. Never fear. Contests are fun. So, until next time, take care, and I will see you soon.